What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the two new upcoming packages, the American Jobs Plan, which is the physical infrastructure package, and the American Families Plan, which is the upcoming stimulus package, and will have multiple different stimulus provisions, as well as what is going on in the world today. Major breaking news regarding Facebook's decision to uphold the ban on former President Donald Trump's Facebook account comes in today. Also, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. Really helps out our channel. Facebook's independent oversight board ruled Wednesday upholding Facebook's decision to suspend former President Donald Trump from the Facebook platform following the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Quote, the board found that in maintaining an unfounded narrative of election fraud and persistent calls to action, Mr. Trump created an environment where a serious risk of violence was possible, it wrote in a statement. At the same time, the panel found the indefinite suspension inappropriate and asked Facebook over the next 6 months to review the decision and develop a, quote, proportionate response that is consistent with the rules that are applied to other users of its platform. Facebook executive Nick Clegg wrote in a subsequent blog post that Trump's account would remain suspended and the company will, quote, consider the board's decision and determine an action that is clear and proportionate in the meantime. Former President Donald Trump is absolutely furious of this decision. He has launched a new kind of communications platform since he's been banned from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, I believe. And he is now launching his communications from his website, donaldjtrump.com. And he has a section on there that says, from the desk of President Donald Trump. Here's what he says this morning. He says, what Facebook, Twitter, and Google have done is a total disgrace and an embarrassment to our country. Free speech has been taken away from the President of the United States because the radical left lunatics are afraid of the truth. But the truth will come out anyways, bigger and stronger than ever before. The people of our country will not stand for it. These corrupt social media companies must pay a political price and must never be allowed to destroy and decimate our electoral process. Former President Donald Trump also has some pretty radical things to say on his blog or his website. He says that things like Republican Representative Liz Cheney from Wyoming. He says, quote, Liz Cheney is a warmongering fool who has no business in the Republican Party leadership. He also says 2 days ago that it's so nice to see Rhino, which means Republican in name only, Mitt Romney, Republican senator, booed off the stage at the Utah Republican State Convention. They are among the earliest to have figured out this guy is a stone cold loser. Even my wife is laughing in the background. He's got some really harsh things to say against his own Republican Party. Yeah, I guess that's just who he is. Very, very outspoken. Let me know your thoughts on the whole Facebook ban being upheld, although they have a recommendation to withdraw it later on. I doubt that's going to happen. And yeah, Republican former President Donald Trump bashing his own party. Yeah, to say there's dissension among the Republicans would be a very lightly speaking what's going on. There's a lot of dissension, especially between Republican Senate leader Mitch McConnell and President Donald Trump. They've been at each other's throats lately, and it's just kind of further dividing the Republican Party. We'll have to see if they can get it together for the next midterm elections, as the Republicans really only need to win a single seat in the Senate to take back the Senate, and only a couple seats now, as the Democrats have had a couple deaths from the House of Representatives, and they had like 2 different people resign, so their lead in the House is growing even smaller and smaller. When you combine this with the new 2020 census data that is now officially in, it looks like the Democrats will be losing an additional 3 U.S. House of Representatives seats. You can see that Oregon and Colorado Democratic states are gaining 2, but California, Illinois, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and New York are all losing 1 seat in the U.S. House of Representatives, which are all Democratic states. 2 Republican, generally states, Ohio and West Virginia, are losing 2 seats, but 4 different states, including 2 seats for Texas, are gaining Republican. 2 for Texas, 1 for Montana, 1 for North Carolina, and 1 for Florida, which means that based on these estimates, because again, each state can sometimes go Democrat or Republican if they decide to be a swing state in the future. But as of this right now, it looks like the Republicans will be gaining 3 U.S. House of Representative seats, which makes it almost an exact dead even tie in both the House of Representatives and the Senate for the next upcoming election, which will be next year. Former President Donald Trump is also teasing his running for president again in 2024. He says, quote, "The answer is I'm absolutely enthused. I look forward to doing an announcement at the right time. As you know, it's very early, but I think people are going to be very, very happy when I make a certain announcement." Let me know your thoughts. Do you think former President Donald Trump can win the next election, or do you think that President Biden will be elected again? Also, new information is out that states can seize your stimulus money or your stimulus check for actually several different reasons if we're including the word garnishment as well. States can seize the third stimulus check payment from those convicted of crimes in order to provide restitutions for victims and their families, according now to the Treasury Department. To the extent permitted by applicable state and local laws, amount paid to the third round of stimulus check may be subject to garnishment by state governments, local governments, or private creditors, as well as pursuant to a court order, which may result in fines related to a crime or administrative court fees, restitution, and other court-ordered debts. A department official said in a letter to Senator Maggie Hassan and Senator Joe Manchin. Also, the $1,400 stimulus checks can be garnished by private debt collectors. As you can see here, the American Rescue Plan cannot be garnished for unpaid federal debts or back taxes, but they can be garnished for other debts from private debt collectors, including medical bills, credit card debts, and other debts, provided that it is ordered by a court order. They tried to put a provision in the third stimulus check package that would say that checks could not be garnished by private debt collectors, but they weren't able to do it. And the reason why is because we go back to the reconciliation process. Remember, the main general rule for the reconciliation process, which is the process where you can pass a bill in the Senate with only 50 or 51 votes. And that means that the Democrats can pass packages on their own. Okay, that is how they passed the third stimulus check package. And the Senate parliamentarian has ruled they can pass 2 more reconciliation packages or bills this fiscal year alone, and then more next year. So they can pass 2 more stimulus packages with the reconciliation process. But remember, every item that's in the reconciliation bill or the stimulus package has to affect the federal budget, which the Senate parliamentarian ruled recently $15 an hour minimum wage or any minimum wage raise at all cannot be included in the reconciliation process, which is why they had to take it out of the third bill, and why we'll probably have to see a standalone bill for a minimum wage raise, which will probably come in around $11 an hour because we will need Republican support, at least 10 votes in the Senate to get that done. That'll probably happen at $11 an hour. And that's also why they couldn't include, they could include that the government wouldn't garnish your debts. So the IRS wouldn't garnish it, child support wouldn't garnish it. Any government agency couldn't garnish your third stimulus check money. It'll probably be the same for the fourth stimulus check as, well, they're going to do the stimulus check through the same process, the reconciliation process. But they couldn't include that it couldn't be taken away from private debt collectors because that wouldn't affect the federal budget or the federal government budget, okay? Private debt collectors are obviously separate than the federal government. So that's why they couldn't include that in there. However, they did, right after passing the bill, try to pass a standalone bill via a down quick vote in the Senate. And while Republican Senator from Pennsylvania, Pat Toomey, blocked that bill mostly in spite, he actually kind of said that it was because the Democrats passed the bill without Republican support, and that's why he blocked the bill, saying no, I object, because it was just a quick up-down vote. And yeah, that bill did not go through simply because of one man, Republican Senator Pat Toomey. However, some states are working to prevent this, and some states may have actually passed this between all 50 states. I'm not sure which ones. You'd have to look into it if this may affect you. But this also could be gearing forward for the fourth stimulus check, as they're somewhat prepared now that this rule will probably not be included in the next one as well. So some states are stepping forward to pass laws on their own state level that says the stimulus checks will not be garnished. We also just had a strong signal from the Fed that's basically seeking for more stimulus, as most economists think we need more stimulus to continue the economic recovery, which is somewhat separate than just the virus and the pandemic. They're kind of related, but in some cases they're not related. And the economic recovery will probably still continue on for quite a while. San Francisco Federal Fed President Mary Daly says it isn't the time for the Fed to pare back stimulus or to not pass more stimulus or stop stimulus. San Francisco Fed leader says that despite the positive outlook, the U.S. is, quote, a long way from achieving full employment and pricing stability, and that it isn't time for the U.S. central bank to pull back on the strong levels of monetary policy and stimulus that it is currently providing the economy. Quote, we're a long way, again, from achieving full employment and price stability. It's not really the right time to start talking about normalization of monetary policy. This comes as the push, the momentum, and the outcry for a fourth stimulus check is really being mounted or launched in two different ways. Number one, by the people, by you guys, from our viewers and American residents, pushing for a fourth stimulus check, which has made national news this week and is being covered by almost all of the national news outlets. That a new petition has over 2 million signatures and calls for $2,000 per month stimulus checks for every single American. In fact, the petition is now up to over 2.117 million signatures and is on its way to 3 million signatures, which is enough for the White House to have to give an official response to this petition, and it will be shown to the president, and really just shows the mounting support for the need of fourth stimulus checks, and really the majority of people calling for monthly stimulus checks. Coincidentally, this goes with the exact bill proposal from the Senate, Senators Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren, who are pushing for President Biden to include $2,000 monthly stimulus checks that would go until at least the pandemic is declared over by the federal government. That's probably at least 6 months at the absolute minimum. And that's if virus cases were to go the absolute best route and the absolute best projection to be possibly over at the end of this year. Although even that looks unlikely, as we're now at just under a million new positive cases per day, of 884,000 new cases per day, every single day last week. And that's an all-time high for the world. And we're also about at an all-time high for deaths per day, with around 14 to 15,000 people every single day worldwide dying to the coronavirus. So again, all-time high levels of deaths and new cases worldwide. And it kind of makes you wonder how long this pandemic might continue to go on. And really, that's just one more reason why a fourth stimulus check, at the bare minimum of a single stimulus check, or the best case scenario, the monthly stimulus checks that would go until the pandemic is over, would really help out twofold. It would help out Americans, it would help out with rent, food, really just necessities and keeping people afloat. Even if they go with the other bill from the House of Representatives that is $1,000 a month, that would really help people dramatically. I mean, $1,000 a month maybe might pay your rent. For a lot of places in the country, it wouldn't even pay your rent. So it's not like people would really be getting rich off this, but it would give them a life vest, a safety boat, to keep afloat during this pandemic. As in some cases, as you've just seen, those cases in the worldwide and deaths are at an all time high, and we have new strains and variants coming out every single day. But it would help out the American people, but it would also help out our economy. As you know, the 2008 2009 recession took over 4 years to get unemployment back to normal. And economists say that they should have passed more stimulus back then. That was the first time of the modern day stimulus package was passed, and it was really a fraction of what they've passed for this round of stimulus. Pretty much in the last 12 months, they've passed 6 different stimulus packages. 5 underneath former President Donald Trump, 1 underneath Biden, and we know that Biden has 2 more now coming. One's a physical infrastructure package, which isn't really stimulus, but it goes with the recovery of the United States. The other one is pretty much a pure stimulus package, the American Families Plan, and that is where we will likely see multiple different stimulus items. As you know, there's about 15 different stimulus items that they're negotiating on being in this next bill right now. Social Security increases of $200 per month. There's a new bill for SSI increases of $279 per month. We have the 2 years of free college that President Biden proposed himself, as well as 2 years of free preschool, which would add an additional 4 years of free education funded for by the government, similar to how kindergarten through grade 12 schools are. We have the proposals for the fourth stimulus check and the monthly stimulus check packages. We have the student loan debt forgiveness on the block, as well as other types of student loan debt savings. And we have the Medicare expansion and looking to increase Medicare by having free hearing, dental, vision, as well as hearing aids, and also lowering the eligibility age to age 60 or age 55. So there's a lot on the block for this next stimulus package. I'll keep you up to date on all these different stimulus provisions. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet and join our family of subscribers. It's completely free to do so. After subscribing, click the bell icon that appears next to the subscribe button to all notifications. Don't miss an episode because we cover different stimulus provisions and different news in new videos. New videos come out every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 8 p.m., and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on the Amazon FBA platform, where we have already had dozens and dozens of people replace their 9-to-5 income by selling products on Amazon FBA. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.